I think it's a phrase that I would think of more than a word, but I think for me the biggest takeaway from this was separating school from learning. So even if schools have to stop or shut down for any reason, learning doesn't stop.
Resilience has a lifelong relationship with the context. So within the current Lebanese context, we are currently in a state of total collapse. Other than the COVID-19 and Delta variant of COVID-19. For instance, our currency devaluated by at least 95%. So teachers today get paid something around $100 or less, which might give them the chance to have a kind of a good a lifestyle for like a week maybe. So the food security is threatened. We had the largest explosion in human history, one of the largest, I mean, with something around 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, killing 200 people and injuring more than 7,000 people. We have lack of fuel, we have lack of electricity. So our current status for education, having schools opening in less than 2-3 weeks, is that there is no clear plan of how people will get into it. If they want to go to in-person in school, there is lack of fuel. But if we want to continue on the online kind of modality, there is no electricity to charge and to put the Wi-Fi, and so the situation is really catastrophic. Not to mention that the curriculum in Lebanon has not revamped since 1997. Not to mention that policies have been not reshaped since 30 to 50 years. So I think that the Lebanese people have been resilient for so many years, and we need to problematize the resilience. We need to problematize the resilience and try to redefine what resilience could look like. Because my opinion is that because of resilience, we are in the current total collapse. Because we have been accepting the norm, we have been accepting everything that's been happening over the years. This is a kind of a resilience made us reach where we are today. So we need to really redefine what is resilience and redefine resilience to transformative resistance, because we need to transform our reality and not accept what we are currently living. Because of the resilience, I think, that we have been we've heard a lot of idea of tolerance, and the idea also of tolerance, we need to again problematize it. So my whole point here is that we need to redefine resilience from informative learning to transformative learning. We need to redefine education as an oppressive tool sometimes to rather a broader definition to true emancipation. Education as a commodity or a certificate or a ticket to enter the university, to really unpack the hidden curriculum and what biases we are upholding in this education system. We need to resist the top-down mandated policies to really create spaces to reinvent ourselves, reinvent our institutions, not to fall back again to what we have been into this total collapse kind of mode.
I mean, I think there are two words in my mind. One is critical. Resilience, education, they just kind of have to be part of, what goes hand in hand. And then I think agility is a big one that's really top of mind for me. I think in a normal world, we already know that education is a very complex set of things that need to happen together to really, push a child to ultimately realize their full potential, right? Like, you really need not just good teachers, parenting, community support, early childhood skilling, 21st century skills. You also like nutrition, sanitation, health, like so many things play a role. So I think even in a normal world, it's a very, very complex problem to solve. And I think, obviously the last 18 months have been proof that it's only gotten more complex. It's obviously disproportionately impacted kids who needed it most, Amrita, like you mentioned. And I think even, like, especially in the Indian context, we're now hearing, I think, UNICEF's report that said that for every month of school closure, it's going to take 2 months for our children to catch up. So, the progress that we made over the last decade, us are pushing for not just, infrastructure, but really quality outcomes, a lot of the state level transformation projects that were happening. So we made progress over the last decade, obviously a lot of which have been wiped out. Literacy rate is already down 2%. So to me, like, when I put all of that together, there's just no choice. Like, it's just absolutely critical that, resilience and education and agility kind of just have to be part and parcel of what we need to do to continue to make sure that students are realizing their full potential, so nations are realizing their full potential. So that's kind of, I feel it's absolutely critical.
Yeah, thank you so much. And building a little bit off what Akanksha and Fahd are saying, I think we really need to think about education more broadly. And really think about how perhaps the community really comes in to support education. So instead of maybe, when we think about a collaboration with students, and we heard this in the first panel from Arav and Shavya, instead of thinking about their fragility and their learning loss, I think both of these children have given us a strong example. So let's think about how they coped last year. And let's empower them to take that autonomy forward and be student leaders, really. When we think about the community, and as Fahd was talking about a little bit earlier, let's think about how we get them to participate in supporting the learning, as opposed to putting the entire burden of teaching only on teachers who can only actually do that much. And frankly, in the absence of those teachers, whether it's for monetary, economic reasons or anything else, we would really, really be stuck then. And then when we think about real connections between informal learning and formal learning, and to the point of redesigning and rethinking of curriculum, the schools that we have been amazing through how many years, and we've really recognized the importance of them. But let's not forget the very thriving and vibrant civil society that we discovered over the last 2 years. The NGOs that are represented on this panel, the parents that were part of the previous panel, and the amount of work that they did and they continue to do to hold up education. How do we make education meaningful in a real world context?